Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. Li Bai, the great romantic poet of the Tang dynasty, was hailed by later generations as the Immortal poet and, alongside Du Fu, was collectively referred to as Li Du. He was known for his generous and forthright nature, his love for drinking and composing poetry, and his fondness for making friends. At the age of 27, what might be an ordinary stage in life for many became a significant turning point in Li Bai's destiny. By this time, Li Bai had already begun to make a name for himself in the literary world with his exceptional talent and unrestrained poetic style, yet he remained unmarried. Li Bai's love story began with a remarkable encounter. It was in Anlu, Hubei, where he composed the majestic poem Gazing at the Waterfall of Mount Lu, vividly capturing the grandeur of waterfalls pouring down 3,000 feet, as if the Milky Way were falling from the sky. This poem not only portrayed the breathtaking scenery of the Lushan waterfall but also showcased Li Bai's extraordinary talent. It was precisely this work that captivated Su Zian, the granddaughter of the former Prime Minister Su Yushi. At the time, Su Zian was in the prime of her youth, endowed with remarkable talent and grace, and had long been searching for a soulmate with whom she could share a deep connection. Li Bai's arrival was like a beam of light illuminating her world. The key figure in bringing this union to fruition was Li Bai's close friend, Meng Haoran. Well aware of Li Bai's talent and character, as well as Su Zian's gifts and aspirations, Meng Haoran enthusiastically played the matchmaker. Through his efforts, Li Bai and Su Zian came to know and understand each other, eventually tying the knot, with Li Bai becoming a son-in-law of the Su family. This marriage profoundly shaped Li Bai's life. On a practical level, it provided him with a decade of financial stability, freeing him from the worries of livelihood and allowing him to devote himself entirely to poetry and travel. Over those 10 years, Li Bai roamed the length and breadth of the land, marveling at the magnificent landscapes of his homeland, which enriched the material for his poetic creations. His footsteps traced famous mountains and rivers, and wherever he went, he left behind verses that inspired awe. These works not only reflected his unique sensitivity to natural beauty but also wove in his deep reflections on life and the world. Emotionally, Li Bai's marriage to Su Zian was steeped in romance and profound affection. Though he often traveled far from home, the bond between him and Su Zian remained unshakable. In his poem Sending to a Distant One, the line, "Longing for you, yellow leaves fall, white dew dots the green moss," poignantly conveys his yearning for his wife. The imagery of falling yellow leaves and white dew glistening on green moss paints a scene of desolation, amplifying Li Bai's tender concern for his distant beloved. Every word brims with deep emotion, and every line feels like a soft whisper to his wife. In an era when communication was difficult, poetry became a vital thread connecting their hearts. The passing of Su Shi was, without a doubt, a devastating blow to Li Bai. The 10 years they spent together were filled with joy and warmth, and those cherished memories became an everlasting treasure in his heart. In one of his poems, he wrote, "My 2 sons are east of Lu Gate, it has been years since we parted," simple words laden with boundless longing and sorrow. His grief was not only for his departed wife but also for their 2 children in Shandong, whom he deeply missed. These emotions found full expression in his poetry, revealing Li Bai's tender side as both a husband and a father. This marriage was not merely a cornerstone of Li Bai's personal emotional life, it also provided crucial support during the height of his creative career. Su Shi's understanding and encouragement created a relatively stable environment for Li Bai's artistry, allowing him to roam freely in the realm of poetry. Their love story, too, became a luminous thread in his works, infusing them with rich emotional depth. Among Li Bai's extant poems and writings, over 120 pieces involve women, serving as a mirror that reflects his rich emotional world and unrestrained lifestyle. In Song of the River, the line, "Carrying courtesans, letting the waves decide where to go," paints a picture of carefree indulgence. Li Bai, aboard an elegantly adorned boat, drifts leisurely on the blue waves, accompanied by beautiful women, with wine overflowing and the melodious sounds of jade flutes and golden pipes filling the air. He revels in this enchanting scene, fully embracing the joys of life. This verse not only reveals Li Bai's longing for a free and unburdened existence but also showcases his disregard for convention and his unrestrained character. In that era, traveling with courtesans was not uncommon, but Li Bai took this practice to its fullest expression, his boldness and freedom vividly captured in his poetry. In Song of Xiangyang, the phrase, exchanging 1,000 gold steed for a concubine, elevates Li Bai's flamboyant actions to new heights. In ancient society, a fine horse was a valuable asset, symbolizing status and prestige, yet Li Bai unhesitatingly traded 1,000 gold steed for a concubine, an act of astonishing generosity. Laughing atop his carved saddle, he sang Plum Blossoms Fall, his pride and ease seemingly transcending the ages, still palpable today. To Li Bai, life was meant to be enjoyed to the fullest, wealth and fame were mere externalities, and only by seizing the moment could one truly live without regret. This passion for life and pursuit of pleasure imbues his poetry with vitality and fervor. Tang dynasty scholar Wei Hao, in his preface to the collected works of Li Bai, recorded that Li Bai often traveled with courtesans from Zhaoyang and Jinling, his behavior resembling that of Xie Yuan, earning him the moniker Li of the Eastern Mountain. From this account, we learn that Li Bai frequently journeyed with renowned courtesans from Zhaoyang and Jinling, his conduct reminiscent of the southern and northern dynasties' poet Xie Yuan, thus being dubbed Li of the Eastern Mountain. These courtesans were not only strikingly beautiful but also exceptionally talented. Together with Li Bai, they explored mountains and rivers, composed poetry, and exchanged verses, adding a romantic flair to his life. In that era, interactions between literati and courtesans were not merely physical transactions but often involved spiritual communion and mutual inspiration. Li Bai and these courtesans admired and inspired each other, creating many cherished memories together. In sending my nephew Liang off to Kuiji with 2 courtesans, Li Bai even penned the sensuous line, both entering the mirror to bloom. As he saw his nephew off with 2 courtesans to Kuiji, he observed their graceful reflections in the water, like 2 blossoming flowers, delicate and radiant. This verse, with its exquisite choice of words, vividly captures the beauty and liveliness of the women while revealing Li Bai's keen sensitivity to and delicate portrayal of beauty. In this poem, Li Bai, with a playful tone, expresses both his blessings and envy toward his nephew, showcasing his humorous and witty side. Such behavior, traveling and socializing with courtesans, was not unique to Li Bai during the prosperous Tang dynasty but was a widespread cultural practice among literati. In that open and inclusive era, scholars and poets eagerly sought creative inspiration and emotional release through poetry, wine, and romance. Courtesans were not only skilled in song and dance but also possessed considerable cultural refinement. Their interactions with literati provided rich material for literary creation. Many poets' works feature descriptions of courtesans, which not only highlight their beauty and talent but also reflect the social customs and intellectual pursuits of the time. For Li Bai, socializing with courtesans was not merely a source of pleasure but a vital wellspring of creative inspiration. Through his interactions with them, he experienced their tenderness and intelligence, which ignited his creative desires. In his poetry, he depicted their beauty and sorrows, expressing his own reflections on life. Under his pen, courtesans were no longer mere objects of disdain but individuals with independent personalities and emotions. These poems not only enrich the depth of Li Bai's works but also provide invaluable insights into the customs and culture of Tang society. In Li Bai's emotional journey, his union with Zong Shi, the granddaughter of Zong Chuk, added a unique and vibrant chapter to his life. At the age of 50, Li Bai, though weathered by life's trials, retained his extraordinary talent. Zong Shi, a woman of noble birth, possessed equally remarkable grace and intellect. Their meeting was nothing short of legendary, and the story of buying the wall for 1,000 gold became a timeless tale of love. On a bright, sunny day, Li Bai, accompanied by his friends Du Fu and Gao Shi, visited the Liang Garden in Songzhou. At the ancient Chui Tai, they were captivated by the stunning scenery and stirred by the distant, melodious sound of a zither. Inspired by wine, they composed poetry, and Li Bai, with bold and sweeping strokes, inscribed the majestic song of Liang Garden on the wall. This poem was not merely a reflection on the ancient site but also an outpouring of his inner passion and ambition. In life, when fate is fulfilled, why worry? Let's drink fine wine and ascend the high tower, the verses proclaimed, showcasing his open-mindedness and carefree spirit. As Zong Shi passed by after playing the zither in the garden, she was deeply moved by the dynamic calligraphy and the captivating poetry on the wall. She lingered for a long time, softly reciting the lines, as if engaging in a timeless dialogue with Li Bai. When a monk moved to erase the writing, Zong Shi immediately intervened, exclaiming, "Do not touch it. I will buy this wall, you must protect it carefully." She spared no expense, spending 1,000 gold to preserve Li Bai's masterpiece. This act not only demonstrated her admiration for his talent but also revealed her burgeoning affection for him. The tale of buying the wall for 1,000 gold quickly spread throughout the ancient city. When Li Bai learned of it, he was deeply touched by Zong Shi's discernment and devotion. Through mutual acquaintances, they came to know and understand each other, eventually marrying. Though their union had political undertones, their time together blossomed into genuine compatibility, mutual understanding, and unwavering support. During the turbulent years of the Yangshi Rebellion, Li Bai and Zong Shi's relationship was put to the test. Driven by patriotic fervor, Li Bai followed Prince Yong, Li Lin, in raising an army to support the emperor, only to be swept into the political maelstrom. After Li Lin's rebellion failed, Li Bai was implicated and imprisoned, facing a perilous situation where everyone wanted to kill him. In this dire moment, Zong Shi remained steadfast. She tirelessly petitioned for his release, exhausting her family's wealth and leveraging their connections. With her wisdom and resourcefulness, she did everything in her power to clear his name. Though Li Bai was ultimately exiled to Yelang, Zong Shi's loyalty and love provided him with immense comfort. During his exile, Li Bai's longing for Zong Shi intensified with each passing day. In his poem Sent to My Wife from Chupu, he wrote, "I now journey to Xuanyang, 1,000 miles from home. Mooring my lotus boat by the water, I send a letter to Dalai. Though our hardships differ, our sorrowful parting keeps us apart. 3 years in Chopu, with little news from the north. Your lovely face is marked by sorrow, white hairs we cannot banish. A visitor from Liang Garden brings a 5-colored fish. Inside, a silk letter asks after me. Though rivers and mountains separate us, our hearts are one." This poem, like a heartfelt letter, pours out his longing and concern for Zong Shi. It vividly depicts the hardships and loneliness of his journey, as well as his deep attachment to her. The lines, "Your lovely face is marked by sorrow, white hairs we cannot banish," encapsulate the pain of separation in troubled times, while also highlighting the profound bond they shared. Li Bai and Zong Shi's marriage was a perfect blend of political alliance and genuine love. In that turbulent era, they supported each other through life's challenges. Zong Shi's talent and unwavering affection provided Li Bai with a warm refuge amidst his wandering life, while his brilliance and passion captivated her in return. Their love story not only brightened Li Bai's life but also became a celebrated tale for generations to come. In Li Bai's poetry, the portrayal of women is not merely a reflection of his emotional life but also a mirror to his inner world. From the exquisite depiction of Yang Guifei in Qing Pingdiao, "Clouds remind me of her clothes, flowers of her face, the spring breeze brushes the railing, dew glistening richly," to the opulent scene in Crow's Night Cry where, in the Wu Palace, drunken with Shi, the women in Li Bai's verses shine with elegance or enchanting allure, weaving a unique spiritual tapestry. Yang Guifei in Qing Pingdiao. In the three poems of Qing Pingdiao, Li Bai compares Yang Guifei to a celestial fairy descending to earth, her garments like clouds and her visage like flowers. Her beauty, enhanced by the spring breeze and glistening dewdrops, radiates with breathtaking charm. He writes, if not seen atop the Jade Mountain, she must be met under the moon at the Jasper Terrace, portraying her as an ethereal being of transcendent beauty. This is more than a tribute to her unparalleled appearance, it reflects Li Bai's relentless pursuit of beauty in his poetry. Through Yang Guifei, Li Bai reveals his keen sensitivity to life's splendors and his yearning for an ideal realm. To him, she is like the peony blooming by the agarwood pavilion, a symbol of the Tang dynasty's prosperity and grace. Xishe in Crow's Night Cry. In Crow's Night Cry, Li Bai paints a scene at Gusu Terrace, capturing the Wu king's indulgent revelry with Xishe. As crows roost on Gusu Terrace, in the Wu palace, Xishe is drunk. Songs of Wu and dances of Chu have yet to end, while the green hills seem to swallow half the sun. Against the backdrop of crows returning to their nests and hills embracing the setting sun, Xishe's beauty and the Wu king's intoxication stand out vividly. Through this imagery, Li Bai not only highlights Xishe's allure but also reflects on the rise and fall of dynasties. He implies that the Wu king's debauchery led to the kingdom's downfall, with Xishe as a witness to this tragedy, her beauty masking profound sorrow. Here, Xishe becomes a vehicle for Li Bai's critique of political corruption and social upheaval, embodying his deep concern for the nation's fate. The woman in endless longing. In endless longing, the line, "If you don't believe my heart is broken, come back and look in the mirror," appears to depict a woman's anguish in longing, but it subtly echoes Li Bai's own frustration at his unrecognized talent. The woman, waiting in heartbreak for her beloved's return, mirrors Li Bai's own struggles in his political career, his ambitions repeatedly thwarted. Throughout his life, Li Bai yearned to achieve greatness but could not fulfill his political aspirations. This pain and frustration are vividly captured in his portrayals of women, through whom he channels his inner turmoil and sense of injustice. Women as metaphors and mirrors. These idealized female figures in Li Bai's poetry serve as metaphors for his political ambitions and mirrors of his character. They symbolize either his longing for perfect love or his pursuit of an ideal political order. In Li Bai's hands, women transcend being mere objects of affection, they become essential vessels for expressing his thoughts and emotions. Through these portrayals, Li Bai lays bare his inner world, offering future generations a glimpse into the richness and complexity of his emotional landscape through his timeless verses. Li Bai's romantic history unfolds like a vivid and lively legend of the prosperous Tang dynasty, reflecting the unique cultural brilliance of that era. Each of his emotional experiences is intricately tied to the social fabric of the time, serving as a precious key to unlocking the cultural codes of the Tang's golden age. In his marriage, Li Bai wed the granddaughter of a prime minister, a union that not only highlights the value placed on talent by noble families but also illustrates the blending and exchange between different social strata. With the support of his wife, Su Shi, Li Bai enjoyed a life of comfort and freedom to travel extensively, gathering rich inspiration for his poetry. This reflects how the material prosperity of the Tang's cultural zenith manifested in personal life. His later relationship with Zong Shi, marked by the famous "buying the wall for 1,000 gold" story, exemplifies how cultural resonance could blossom into love. It showcases the deep reverence Tang literati held for art and literature, and how this reverence shaped their emotional worlds. Li Bai's indulgent escapades with courtesans Dagan, steeped in poetry and wine, vividly capture the open and inclusive spirit of Tang society. In that era, interactions between literati and courtesans transcended societal prejudices, evolving into a unique form of cultural exchange. The courtesans' talent and wisdom breathed new life into the literati's creations, while the poet's verses bestowed upon them a distinct cultural allure. This symbiotic relationship, where each inspired the other, formed a unique tapestry of diverse coexistence within Tang culture. The women immortalized in Li Bai's poetry are the crystallization of his profound reflections on love, life, and society. These figures are not merely vessels for his personal emotions but symbols of his pursuit of beauty and his longing for an ideal world. Through his portrayals of women like Yang Guifei and Shi Shi, Li Bai celebrates the splendor and grace of the Tang's golden age while also offering deep meditations on the cycles of history. In poems such as Endless Longing, he channels the sorrow of a woman's yearning to express his own frustration at his unrecognized talent, intertwining his personal struggles with the fate of the nation. Li Bai's romantic history is a brilliant chapter in his life and a microcosm of Tang culture. Through his poetry and love, he crafted a legend of an era, allowing future generations, even 1,000 years later, to still feel the openness, inclusiveness, romantic freedom, and cultural confidence of the prosperous Tang. His story is a heartfelt tribute to that magnificent age and a priceless spiritual legacy for posterity. This is History and Culture Channel. Like and subscribe are the biggest help and support for us. Thank you everyone. See you next time.